11,970 pounds as you see it here today. This represents either the Montana 3120 or 3121. The model number changes depending on which refrigerator is placed in the RV here at Haylett RV of Coldwater, Michigan. This is one of the most popular Montanas out there, and for good reason. It's pound for pound like the most efficient. It gives you all of the benefits of the big luxury Montana series, but in the smallest size. You have dual opposing super slides, kitchen island, big king bed, awesome bathroom, and all wrapped up into about a 35-foot target mark. What's cool is this thing is just the right size. It almost perfectly traces right behind your vehicle, right in your own tire wipes. It's very easy to handle on the road. The suspension package is great. The 0 to 100 functionality that Montana's had since '05 and counting here. It's also important to mention that this has a warranty for full-time RVing, and that is one of a lot of reasons. This is both the best-selling fifth wheel on the market, as well as the #1 choice of full-time RVers out there. Now, while this model's not fully travel accessible, it is critically travel accessible. What I mean by that is if I get over here, you notice you can get to the entire refrigerator. That is a recent revision. They adjusted the position of that island to make getting to the entire 18 cubic foot fridge simpler and easier. That also meant that getting over here to the dining area was a little bit easier. So if you do need to come in and sit down just to get a quick bite to eat, this one gets it done. And the moment you step inside, don't you just have this big feeling of, relax, we're home now. It's just begging you to come in, take your shoes off, kick your feet up, and stay a while. Visit, have some fun, take a nap, you know? It's just, you're here, you're done, you've arrived, relax, have a good time. Now, I have a ton to cover on this, so in no particular order, I'm just going to start working my way from the top down. In both the kitchen and the bathroom, you will find MaxxAir ceiling vent fans with multi-speeds and wall control switches so that you can activate the switch whether you're in the bathroom or the kitchen from the associated room and open and close, exhaust all the heat, moisture, humidity, whatever. They've updated their ceiling accent light fixture up here. It's got more indirect lighting than it did before. Personally, I think it just looks snazzy as all get out. They've also improved their airflow system over here in a way that's very easy to miss. Montana's had a residential ceiling fan back here before, but that's exactly what it was, residential. It required 110 household power or park power to operate. That is now a 12-volt powered ceiling fan, meaning if you are only on battery power, or if you're just running solar panels or something, you now have a greater than ever before ability to get airflow going on in here. Really nice, by the way, if you're stopping for a little while at Walmart and the air conditioner, if you have a generator or something, or if you don't have a generator, you need to just get some air moving, get the air moving, get the heat exhausting, and get comfortable in here. Now, I've looked at a lot of things up top, but you know what we haven't looked at is the air conditioner. And you will not see the air conditioner in a Montana. And if you don't see the square, then you won't hear the air, because this has a 30,000 BTU dual centralized ducted dual whisper quiet air conditioning system. What all that means in English is that this has a pair of 15,000 BTU whisper quiet air systems, one here in the living room, one in the bedroom. So Montanas are nice if you're a light sleeper and that thing kicks on at night, that compressor kicks in. It won't jar you awake. And I tell you, where I got to experience that is when we took a family camping adventure last year. Last year, we all piled in together into a Montana 3120 RL, very similar to this one, just previous generation, really. We had a heck of a time. There were 5 of us, 4 of us being adults, and my 1 child. So, how do we all fit in this thing? It's a couple's coach. Well, you've got your king bed up front for, the primary owner sleeping. But check this out back here. This is a larger 3-seat sofa. It folds open into a larger hide-a-bed and has more room to sit during the day. My wife and I, we slept back here just fine, had all kinds of room. We had our phones charging right next to us all night via those household outlets on either side of the sofa right there. We're not CPAP users, but were we? Even a guest has a CPAP-friendly side stand. And thanks to these nice roll-down, slow-rise, blackout night shades here, I never felt weirdly exposed. I always felt like I had plenty of privacy back here. And it was kind of nice because we had one sleeping area back here and one up front. Well, what about my daughter? Well, what's kind of cool is that if you start looking, you see how that closer side of the theater seat is still unimpeded? That thing reclines almost completely flat. We just threw a pillow and a blanket there, and my daughter thought it was cool that she got Grandpa's chair all weekend. She felt like she was some kind of special big girl, and just that little thing made the trip extra special for her. And it's funny how she still asks at least once a month, when are we going camping again? And the hardest part about this business is that when you're working, you can't really go camping. And it's such a catch-22, like the roofer with a leaky roof, you know? And speaking of those shades, you've actually got dual section shades in a full Montana, which used to be a legacy feature. It was rolled into the standard Montana like we're in. We've got the slow rise roller shade for nighttime, but we also have the slow rise day shade here as well. Now these windows are super tinted, so people are not going to be able to see in as it is. And I also like how they didn't cut the corner. They fully box in all these windows so that when you pull that down, nobody's peeking in. You've got full-on privacy going on here. Now, let's talk windows, because holy crap, Batman, is this thing loaded with windows, and every single one of them opens for airflow. Whether it is the theater side or the sofa side windows, every darn thing in this is going to open up. And what I love is how you have all these windows over here overlooking your campsite, not looking at the neighbors. You'll actually get to leave these windows open, should you choose, and get to look at your site that you probably paid money for instead of peeking at the neighbors. Now, while we're over here, you might notice how there's an extra chair kind of stacked behind one of those over there, but there's only two sitting out. One of the things Montana has done better than almost anyone else, well, because of their success, maybe you could say better than anyone else, is to incorporate what I call a lot of like diesel pushery features into a towable fifth wheel RV. First, the dinette extends outward, so if you need a little bit of extra tabletop space for any reason, you get about 4 to 5 extra inches there. Then you have a second extension leaf that you can telescope out from there. So if you need to, if you're gonna have like a bunch of friends over, you can utilize this as what I like to call either a dining desk or just a generic table. But you know what you're not going to do? You're not going to smash your knees on anything, because they use a legless dining system here, which is, I think, one of the coolest things. But it is, to me, the second coolest thing about their dining area, because we have the chair buddy, that little gas strut assisted lever right there. You don't have to tie those chairs down in transit. You have a simple little thing right there that will keep those chairs in check. And that way, you've got your fold-away guest chairs over here, but notice how they can stand up on their own. You can store those under the bed, you could store those in the front closet, in the pass-through, or you could just leave them at home. You don't have to necessarily bring them. But what's nice is when they fold down, they basically look and feel exactly like your main chairs. So nobody feels like they're at the kid table. Nobody feels like a child. Everybody gets like a normal, full-on adult seat. And that's all well and good, but the kitchen is, I think, the surprise star of this floor plan. And it starts right over here by the door with this hutch overhead above a big old, what I like to call a coffee bar. It's the perfect place, and it perfectly fits a Keurig machine. I know because I'm a family camping trip, my parents brought the Keurig machine. It fits up there perfectly. You just want to take it off the cabinet, or off the countertop in transit. But they had all sorts of room up here for their little coffee flavor add-ins and whatnot. They had all sorts of room for all that kind of stuff. Now, you do have a nicely hidden command center up here, and what's neat is it's away from the little kid hands, so they're not necessarily pushing slides, but they're also not messing with things like your tank heaters, your water heater. All that stuff is just nicely hidden away behind this all hardwood cabinet door framing. We've got hidden hinges throughout, and we've got all pocket screwed styles. Now notice, and you'll see this repeated in the main kitchen area, you have a full wall backsplash. So if you do happen to spill something over here on your little coffee bar, or however you use it, maybe you use it for griddles since there's power outlets right there, it's vastly easier to clean than trying to scrub off a wallpaper. You'll also notice that all of our counters are solid surface, although that's not entirely uncommon at this class and price point. So we're gonna just kind of move on from that. all plywood extension drawers. They don't waste an ounce of space over here. And this pantry space over here, it's absolutely massive. Like, if you just walk by and go, oh yeah, that's the pantry, you got to get in here, you got to get your hands dirty and open this thing up, and voila! Now, I'm not a magician. I can't cast a light spell. I never went to Hogwarts. But what's cool, you got motion sense lighting in here, and it goes all the way down so you can actually see your way through. Quick mention, this RV that we're standing in is a 3120 Montana. That means it has an 18 cubic foot dual fuel, meaning electric or propane refrigerator. It's traveling friendly, and it has an auto changeover. If you lose power, it will kick itself over into propane mode so your food in this giant thing doesn't spoil. It has a better service record than the residential fridge. Unless you decide you want a special order something, this is what you're going to find at Haylett RV 10 times out of 10, because it has a vastly superior service record. It is more expensive. That's something a lot of people don't realize. But it provides, I think, better service to customers, and that is something that we are very focused on here at Haylett RV. Now, over here in the main kitchen primary, I love the symmetry of this kitchen. I love looking at that convection microwave. You got the little wine bottle rack up top, and somebody at Montana drinks wine because there's a little ledge up inside there so that that wine bottle always stays at a bit of an angle to keep the cork wet. A lot of people don't realize that's something you need to do when you're storing wine. Somebody in Montana does, though. Also, they shelved that overhead cabinet space so it's not wasting anything. Full wall tile backsplash back here. We already talked about the dual pop-up power points. At least I think we did. I can't remember. But the fact is, whether you are in your power theater seat, which each side of that has its own USB plugs, or here in the kitchen, both sides of this have dual household and dual USB plugs, or you can just pop them down out of the way. You've got another one of these by the dinette. I mean, you've got everything here. You've also got excellent drawer space going on in this kitchen area, and we're not done with that, by the way. There's more drawers to be had beyond what we're even seeing now. I love the fact, though, that they put a full drawer under that oven, and they just don't waste anything. We've got that clear glass front on that Furrion stove, and you've got that sealed burner stovetop. A lot of big fifth wheels do that now. You know why? Because Montana did it first. Montana is ahead of the curve on just about everything when it comes to just about everything, I swear. Then on the other side, over here on the island, which first of all, this is a large island, and I love how they moved it for better travel access. It's just, they're always listening. It's not an accident Montana's the top seller of any fifth wheel, you know. High-rise sprayer faucet, nice stainless hardware too, but you also have a dual sink. You've got a single oversized like farm sink so you can actually clean big pots and pans, and a traditional size stainless sink on the other side, and you have dual solid surface covers so that you always maintain max prep space when you need it. More drawers, and there's another drawer on the other side we'll see in a minute, but I love to point out the fact that you've got this big open space down here, whether it's for dish soap, pots and pans. I would say wastebasket, but wouldn't you know it. Montana, once again, one step ahead of everybody else. And as if the outlets back there on the rear kitchen area weren't enough, you've got dual easy reach outlets over here as well. It doesn't matter where you go. This thing is just dressed and pressed. Now, as we head over to the stairs, a couple cool things. There's a little motion-activated light here as we head on up the stairs there. That will kick on as you walk by it or come a little bit closer to it so that you can either see when you first walk in from outside or going up and down the stairs at night. We also have a centralized vacuum system, but it also has a neat little, there's that electric light, a neat little, what I call electric dustpan. So if you sweep everything up here just with a quick little broom, you just go boop, and that will kick on the central vacuum system when you're hooked up to 110 shore power. I'm only on a 12-volt battery currently. And you don't have to lug out that whole, like, it looks like you're a pool cleaner kind of hose thing, you know? You just, bumped my power button as I was standing up. Sorry about that. Anyway, as we approach the bathroom, we have a nice little spot right by the door to hang coats. And I cannot tell you how much it annoys me. It's a thing with me when an RV does not have a place to hang a coat by the door. I don't know if Montana was the first. I know that when they adopted the pivot door, though, everybody went bananas over it, and a lot of other brands tried copying it. And I've noticed other brands move away from it. I don't know if it's because they use too cheap of a hardware system or whatnot. I know that people seem to like it in Montana. Their bathroom's absolutely awesome. What they do in this bathroom is tremendous. Like, back here, we've got a great linen space, and they've actually expanded this a little bit. They borrowed from the pantry space that is below. Remember that big pantry door in the kitchen I said is easy to overlook? That's actually what's behind this wall panel right there. Very easy to miss. What's also easy to miss is we have just an absolute ton of legroom in this thing, so you don't have to do any sort of twist 'em up bathroom yoga. We also have a nice, seamless, fiberglass, one-piece molded shower here. This thing's self-reinforced. You can literally jump up and down in it. It won't even flinch. Also, nicer shower hardware here. We got some stainless stuff. We have height-adjustable hardware. So if you're like me and my wife, where I'm significantly taller than her, we can both get along pretty well in this thing. And then over here, I love the fact you have this huge vanity mirror. But you notice that it doesn't really have any sort of cabinet space. And that's where this comes into play right here. They gave us all of the things that we need for, like, whether you need your pill bottles, you need to put your medicine there. We got our Lipitor or whatever going on in this thing. We've got everything that we need in one spot, or shavers or toothbrushes or whatever. And we have decent counter space. Now this is neat, because you look at this, you go, huh, it's a plastic sink. No. If you touch it, you can feel it's a seamless one-piece molded countertop sink combo. So there's no little seams where water can get in, no little nooks and crannies where things are going to kind of mold up and have to be scrubbed with a toothbrush that you then put back into your husband's toothbrush holder. I'm just guessing. But I digress. We've also got some great drawer space here in the bathroom, as well as a decent place for a bathroom wastebasket, which is something most fifth wheels have a severe lack of. There's nowhere to put a wastebasket in the bathrooms of most fifth wheels. Now, as we're leaving here, note the thickness of these interior walls. Keystone's very good about this. They do it in Cougar and Montana and a lot of their brands. They do thicker 3-inch interior walls, and they're all fully studded out so that this doorway is always maintaining square, which is really important if you stop somewhere and you don't have the jacks quite down or anything like that. Now, as we come up here in the bedroom, remember that this has dual 15,000 BTU whisper ducted air systems, and something I should have talked about back in the living room, and I knew I'd missed something, is that the main air conditioner also has a 16,500 BTU heat pump on it. Combine that with the 5,120 BTU electric space heating fireplace, and guys, you've got a significant amount of propane-free heating in each and every Montana fifth wheel. Pretty darn cool. Now, we've optioned this out with a 70 by 80 king bed, which I think is pretty much the standard build. A queen is technically standard, but I believe that like less than 1% of Montanas are actually built with a queen bed. There's a thing here that's really important that's really easy to miss. Montana's bed slides are about 6 inches deeper than industry standard. They go out a little bit further. That means a bigger cross breeze window. And have you noticed how they have a bedside stand within the slide box, not outside of it or beside it, and a set of household outlets on both sides of the bed within the slide box? Not near it, not around it, but actually right within it. That right there is a major best-in-class feature that almost nobody else who builds a remotely comparable price point fifth wheel also does. And like the kitchen, like the bathroom, they gave us every single square inch of space they possibly could in here, inclusive of a full easy lift underbed storage area. And that right there is something a lot of fifth wheels with bed slides lack. Now we've got dedicated clothing hamper space. You can use this shelving system in here either as dresser space or as like a giant shoe garage. Of course, we've got our hanging lights above, and you notice how that light kicked off. If you reach in here, blam, motion sense lighting, just like the pantry, just like that hallway, like a lot of things. This is prepped and ready for a stackable washer and dryer if you are so inclined, or you could just simply use it for huge storage. And you might notice there's a little nylon buckle strap in there. That is the perfect place to put your dual fold-away guest chairs when you're not using them. A lot of brands have started moving up from a 4-drawer dresser to a 6, which is nice to see. But again, the devil in the details thing. A lot of brands have either bedroom TV hookups. Some include a bedroom TV. Not a lot of them do. You know what I like about Montana's? Is how they have an angle-mounted TV so that that thing faces down at you. It's not a. It's another no neck wrecker. These guys, you know, they just get it. Now, another really key detail to talk about in here is interior bedroom height. Last year, Montana revised their ceilings in their bedrooms so that they were a little bit taller. And kind of testament to that, I'm 6'3". I can walk around in this thing. There's no point at which it ever tapers down and becomes too short for me. Whereas the old vaulted ceiling, it was tall in the middle, but if I got near the edge, it was just enough. And now it's always enough. Another area that this is really, really important, I think, is when you're back there in that shower. A bigger person like me, I can stand in that shower and not have to like have my head tilted like this the whole time, because who wants to do that? Now, what's cool for me about a Montana is that there's so much to talk about even outside. What's rough for me on a Montana is I got a lot to cover, so bear with me as I start barreling through this stuff. For instance, we have hydraulic auto leveling, which is one of the differences between full Montana and high country. This is hydraulic versus electric leveling. There are benefits both ways. What's nice about hydraulic, though, is it moves a lot faster. You will notice that Montana has a higher gloss skin package as well. Like almost, well, not almost, I think every single Keystone fifth wheel. You've got that fully painted nose cap. There's all kinds of various accent lights on it. What's cool, Keystone does so much of their own paint work on their nose caps. They bought their own paint facility so that they can guarantee the quality and the workmanship of that nose cap paint under their 3-year structural coverage. And that is something that not every brand can boast. Little detail things here too, because it's you know, if you start boiling down big fifth wheels, they all hit the main notes. They do. It's the details that separate them. Like the little hitch assist mirrors that when you're backing up, let's say you have a tonneau cover or something like that, and you can't visibly see your hitch from your vehicle. This can help you see that in relation to your hitch as you're backing up. You've also noticed here that you have a rubber shock dampening road armor pin box system, and that will go right along with the road armor suspension package that you find on a lot of your Keystone fifth wheels, like a Cougar and Montana both. What's nice about the road armor system is it has a shock dampener both above and below the joint, so it doesn't just soften the bounce, it helps stop the bounce from even occurring in the first place. Smart detail features like over here under the bed slide, they put struts on the door, so you don't have to, wow, I think that was a 1997 Civic with absolutely no muffler left. But you don't have to hold this thing up with your head, you don't have to duck under it, the plastic holdback isn't going to break on you. And you notice over here, like a lot of big fifth wheels, we've got a fully enclosed privatized docking center. We've got our exterior shower up top, and what I want to point out is how everything is very clearly listed. This looks a little intimidating to a first-time RVer, but if you actually just stop, like you say, you know, tank, fill, power flush, so that if you have a hose, you want to hook up your city water connection or fill your tank or flush the tank, you're selecting which thing you want to go to. It's all very simply listed right here. These also have the key TV system, which is something Keystone has developed so that you no longer need that annoying signal antenna booster button. Also, if we take a little bit of a squat down here, below your pass-through area, you've got a handy little sewer hose caddy. Because the last thing you want is your black tank stuff mingling with your freshwater stuff, you know? And you don't have to deal with that here in a Montana. I'm glad to see more fifth wheels getting into that. It is something that I've noticed Keystone being very good about, whether it's Cougar, High Country, Montana, whatever. Now, everybody wants to know, is it 4 seasons? Is it 4 seasons? Well, Montana has been leading that charge. Remember, guys, this is the single best-selling fifth wheel out there. This is the one everybody chases. Everybody chases this thing right here. You know, there's other guys in this class that have good insulation packages. Montana's had that since 2005. Montana's had 6-point leveling on a 35-foot fifth wheel for a long time now. They have the higher gloss skin, you know. They've had these things that people think that they have to have, and they've had them for a very long time. And the thing is, what I like about these guys is they're always pushing forward. They're always doing the little revisions, the graphical updates, the skin on the roof changing over. We're going to walk on the roof and talk about that in a little bit. They're always pushing forward, pushing ahead, doing a little bit more. There's also little detail things here that are very easy to miss. And I keep saying the details because the devil's in the details. And again, Keystone does this on a lot of their stuff. They have a triple seal slide system. So we've got our outside wiper seal. There's another wiper seal internally, but it's black on black, so you're probably not seeing it. There's also an interior bulb seal on the interior wall. So there's 3 seals keeping in contact all the time. Now when you close it, you've got an exterior bulb seal. So again, 3 seals. But why is that half and half color package here? Well, if this was black on the side that touches your sidewall, while the slide is closed, if it was exposed to a lot of sun, it could kind of bake against it and leave that ugly black foam line on there that's really hard to clean off. So Keystone says, hey, no sweat. We'll use a lighter color skin on that bulb right where it touches the RV skin. And there's 3 or 4 other little detail things on each and every one of these slide outs here that are not usually found across the industry on most brands. Again, it's those little things that make the difference. Have you ever noticed when I do my used RV tours, I could say, wow, this Montana, somebody really beat it up, but here it is and it's still fine. These things are built like tanks. They perform. If you look at, on paper, how they're built versus a lot of other things read as though they're built similarly. But yet, Montanas seem to hold up better over time than almost anything else I've seen. It's just crazy how their stuff holds together better than the average bear. Smart little detail thing, we've got a 2-inch receiver down here so that if you want to add a bike rack or something without voiding your warranty, you can. Also, we have reverse travel lighting. See that big old white chunk of LED lights, and wow, that is a big one. If you shift into reverse, those things will flare right up so the people behind you have a clue what you're doing, and that works very nicely if used in conjunction with that backup camera prep that we have up there above that rear window. Over here on the business side of our campsite, we are greeted to just a plethora of windows, every single one of which is going to open up for airflow. So you always have awesome views of your site, not the sweaty, shirtless neighbor next door. I think we've all met at least one of them at an unfamiliar campsite. And you're also greeted by the fact that we have dual power awnings with little accessory power channels on them. So we'll get to all that in just a second. You see that the second awning here mounts right on the slide face to really maximize our patio area. The both lights do have awning. Both lights, of course, have an auto rain dump feature. And both awnings also have this cool little Dometic power channel. So if you have those little, there's little lights, little fans, little things that can hook up into here, and you have little accessory features going on in your campsite. Where that's really cool is maybe you're going to camp next to a neighbor who doesn't appreciate your awning lights on at night. You can have like individual little spot lamps out here illuminating your site, which frankly is no more light than a campfire. So I don't really see how anyone could, raise a fuss over that. Our entry doors here on these Montanas have something to chat about. The fact that they're not just 30 inches wide, which is nice, they're wider, but they're also 6.5 foot tall. They're a residential height door, and they're anti-slam. So coming and going is nice, and a tall guy like me, I don't have to duck coming through the door, or if I got a big platter full of whatever I cooked on the campfire, I don't have to try to, weave it through the door and risk dropping everything, because I'm just that kind of stupid. I have the ability to do that. Bigger entry handle for coming and going, and we also have these just absolutely awesome MORryde 0G stable steps on the Montanas. 0G obviously meaning zero gravity. It's got a gas strut self-supporting system, so even though it's dancing a little bit in the breeze right now, it is, whoa, that's a gust, not a breeze. It is not falling down. I tell you, I would rather it wasn't super gusty right now, but what a good example of how well this works. Live in real time, and you can see how the door's dancing, but it ain't going anywhere. So I'm going to get these put back down before the wind has its way with me, and we'll get this thing put back together. And right next door, we have our just huge drop frame pass-through storage compartment with those dual slam latches and dual magnet holdbacks. So it's always simple, easy to get in here. Very nice if you have a lot of cargo to load and unload, which, considering the size of this RV, is very likely, especially considering Montana's status as the #1 choice of full-time RVers out there. So we've got this more like industrial sort of flooring down here, not a carpeted kind of flooring, so it's a lot better if exposed to any level of moisture. Down here we have our central vacuum dump as well as outside TV hookups, but you might notice right here how it says, hey, we're solar ready. What's cool is behind this panel is where you would mount a solar charge controller. And what's cool about that is that it can be easily accessible, but out of sight, out of mind, and away from any sort of shifting cargo, so you never have to worry about anything, smashing it. Now, it was a little bit gusty. It is theoretically possible for a little bit of wind to get behind that door and to break the connection of the magnet holdback and cause that thing to fall on your head. That is why, if you live in wind country, they still leave these mounts right here. If you do want to add a gas strut, they make it simple and easy to do that. You don't have to guess where to try to mount that. Montana shows you where to mount that. And it's just one of those nicer extra things they do that I think helps kind of just complete the whole thing with Montana. There's a whole thing with these guys. And hey, I also had a little chance to put on those nose accent lights, but considering it's midday, you don't really notice them, but at night they look pretty sweet. It's starting to rain on me. I'm gonna have to pick the pace up here, especially for, I think we're forecasted for thunderstorms. I don't feel like being a human lightning rod. Anyway, compared to previous generations, like if you look over at that Sprinter, you see how it's got a cream colored roof membrane? It's pretty, but why? You know, why do you care how pretty the roof skin of this thing is? Don't you want it to reflect the sun and not be as hot? Montana kind of went, yeah, you know, that makes a lot of sense. And they reverted back to a conventional white roof liner here. A lot of Montana's fifth wheels, like Cougar's, done the same thing because it will help keep the RV from getting so darn hot in the summertime. Another pretty cool thing here is they've added roof solar prep to this, so if you want to go nuts with all kinds of solar panels, you have plenty of room to do it. You do also have the ability to add a really extensive factory solar option in on these Montanas. It's not some little $200-300 little solar panel just kind of glued to the roof. It is a full solar charge system, 265 watts, has a big inverter to run your household outlets, a handful of them inside anyway. It's a cool package. And when I get one in, because I have one coming with it, I'm going to do a video on just that. So if you don't see that video on our YouTube channel yet, don't worry, it's coming. While we're up here, I do want to point out the really heavy-handed nature that they have with all their sealants on this, which is pretty nice. And a good look at the second air conditioner up front here on these Montanas. A little bit of a lower profile model, so it's not quite as up in the air and in your face. And take a look, I mentioned heavy-handed sealants. Look at how heavy they are on that front termination strip. That is the #1 area I see a lot of manufacturers go light on sealant, and frankly, it's the #1 area you should ever go heavy on sealant. There's just, they just do almost, it's like everything is right. They know what they're doing here, and it's not an accident that Montana is the single best-selling fifth wheel on the market. They've been #1 in their class for 17, 18 straight years. I don't even know how many now. It's ridiculous. They are absolutely the ones everybody else is chasing. They've got their full-time warranty, and I don't know, I'd like to think maybe you've got just an exceptional dealership here at Haylett RV from where you can get one and we can take care of you. God forbid you need something. Because it's not, you're buying the dealership as much as the RV. And how many other places have you met are literally willing to climb up on the roof of an RV to show you around? You know, I haven't met one yet, and I live in the internet, guys. So give us a call. Doesn't matter if it's hitching pieces, parts, trades, finance, truck and trailer package deals, RV delivery, and everything in between. The only thing we don't do at Haylett RV is hidden dealer fees. We do leave that to the big box stores. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.